Happy Thursday, everyone. We got a fun work set for you guys coming up. We have a nice little chunk of work for your warm-up. We're going to get right to that. So we have our Sumo Good Morning for 3 to 5 reps. Side lunge for 6 to 10, alternating at a 303 tempo. Back scale to front scale for 3 to 5, working on some balance. Our Sumo Squat for 3 to 5 at a 303, just to get those legs moving this time. Yesterday we did a Sumo Squat hold. Today we're going to get some dynamic squatting in. 2 to 3 rounds of that. We're going to take that down. Moving into our lateral ski jump for 20 seconds. We're going to move into our ankle pop for 10 seconds, or skipping in there if you like. In-out hops for 10 seconds. Curtsy lunge for 6 to 10, alternating 2 to 3 rounds, just to get some bouncing in those ankles. The work set today, you're going to set a 5-minute timer, and you're going to do 4 rounds of this in this continuous loop of 5-minute time. You're going to do 20 alternating back lunges into a dumbbell standing march for 90 seconds. Jump squat for 10 to 20, and then a skip for the remaining time in that 5 minutes. So your skipping is going to be singles, nice and steady state, just kind of flowing nice and smooth, getting that nice steady state cardio in. I'll have some different options for the skip at the workout description, so check those out for you. But we want to think about settling into a nice pace that allows us just to move nice and smooth through the whole round. Let's get you warmed up, ready for action. All right. Let's get those feet under those hips. We'll take the arms big and tall. We'll reach to one side. We're going to come back through, reach to the other side. We're going to come back up tall. We're going to forward fold. Touch those toes. Lock up those shins. We're going to come down, frame of foot. We're going to step back into our lizard. Nice and square. We're going to take that inside hand on that front foot. Turn the torso. Come back to center. Turn the torso. Center, and turn, and back to center. Plant the hand, step it back into our down dog. We're just going to walk those heels out, nice and slow, nice and steady, just feeling it out. And we're going to come back into that plank, stepping the other foot up, nice and set in that lizard. We'll turn, come back to center, turn, back to center, and turn, and back to center. Plant that hand, step back into that down dog, reaching those hips, walking those heels, nice and slow, nice and steady. We'll come back into that plank, tiptoe those feet up. We'll roll ourselves up, big stretch, little reach, and we're gonna get ourselves ready to go. So, if you'd like to continue on with some gentle warm-up stuff, maybe some rotation work, cat-cow, please pause the video, take that down, and come join me. I'm going to walk you through this first phase of warm-up. All right, our first phase of warm-up today is going to consist of our Sumo Good Morning. So I'm going to get myself set up in that sumo stance, so that's slightly wider, but not super wide. All right, we're going to meet kind of in the middle. So in that sumo stance, I'm going to stand nice and tall. I'm going to set my ribs and hips, nice and tall, upright, and I'm going to pull my hips to the back of the room, keeping my feet flat and my big toe down. I'm going to squeeze my glutes and stand tall. So the whole time I'm hinging in this movement, I'm trying to keep my weight through my laces, but my big toe in contact with the floor. And that's going to really help keep me centered in that Sumo Good Morning. After that, though, I'm going to go into a wider stance, so kind of back into that nice wide stance position, wide enough that I can still open my hips up fully, and I'm not too uncomfortable here. From here, I'm going to squeeze my glute, I'm going to take my hip down towards that heel, keeping my chest up nice and tall. I'm going to work on maintaining those squat mechanics. So I want you to think about squatting down to that side. So pulling the hip to the heel, keeping that chest up as upright as we can as we do this, and those feet nice and flat as we flow through this movement set. So really focusing on embodying those squat mechanics, hip to heel, flat foot, and tall chest. Taking your time with those, we have a 303 tempo, so it's going to allow you to really feel every inch of that movement. After, we have a combo scale movement set. So we're going to work our back scale and our front scale. So I'm going to set myself up. So I'm going to work on that nice balance position. Palms are forward, hips are square, I'm nice and glued through that position. And I'm going to hinge on a a soft knee, keeping that hip square to the floor. My goal is parallel to the floor, but if you need to, you can stop at any point on that movement. From there, I'm gonna come through, and I'm gonna lift that leg up into my front scale, and then come back and reset my hip and get that hinge going. So I want you guys to keep in mind as we're going through this movement set, to stop the hinge at any point that you start to feel your body rotating or compensating at all, or if your balance is falling apart. Don't let yourself go to that end range where you're tipping over. On the front scale, I want you to really focus on that balancing leg, squeezing that glute so that we can keep this leg super straight and not let it buckle as I'm lifting my legs. We want to make sure we have a nice, stable, steady post for that leg so that we can lift the other one as best we can. After that, we're going to bust out those sumo squats. We're going to come back to that sumo squat, and I'm going to focus on those good squat mechanics. So weight through the midfoot, hips going to my heels, staying tall, and I'm going to just give myself a little bit more awareness on those knees. So I'm going to push those knees out just a little bit harder so that they stay out the whole time with that wider stance. So from profile, I get myself set up, my hips go towards the heels, I'm pushing my knees out, I'm staying as upright as I can in my body, and then from here, I stand up nice and tall. So take your time with those. It's a great chance to open up the hips, really work on getting things ready for what's to come. Pause the video. We have a quick recap for you guys. We have a Sumo Good Morning, 3 to 5, side lunge, 6 to 10 at a 303 tempo, back scale to front scale, 3 to 5 reps, taking those slow for good balance practice, and a Sumo Squat of 3 to 5 reps at a 303 tempo. So take that down, 2 to 3 rounds, pause the video, come back to me. We're going to talk about our little more dynamic piece to our warm-up. All right, we've got some general kind of movement going on in our body. Hips and ankles should be starting to get there. We're going to get ourselves a little more dynamically warm up now. So we're going to kickstart off with our lateral ski jump. So I'm going to shift over a little bit. And again, with this lateral ski, we're trying to pair our upper and lower body together to generate power. So these jumps can be as big or as small as you need to control your position. So I'm going to load that leg, swing, and then get that jump. And I'm going to work on that quick, kind of explosive swing and jump, and then control briefly on that single leg to control my lateral energy to return the other way. Now with this, I can also step. So if you're like, I don't really jump, jumping's not really nice on my ankles, I can do this and I can step, and I don't actually pull my foot off the floor until that other foot is securely on the ground. But if you'd like to start playing with the jump, and you've always been a stepper, there's nothing wrong with taking a little step back and just making these jumps just a little smaller so you start to get that feel of leaving the ground. It's a great start, and then you just progressively start jumping a little longer, a little bigger, to what you're comfortable with. After that, we have our ankle pop or some skipping. So what we can practice again, keeping the toes pointing straight ahead. We're going to get my elbows in tight like I'm holding the skipping rope, my arms slightly forward, right? Not forward, but just slightly forward so I'm not angled backwards. And I'm just going to relax my shoulders, pull my ribs in, squeeze my glutes a bit, and then let my ankles, knees, and wrists do what they need to do to maintain this posture, but also to feel that looseness in the wrists so that when I'm skipping, I can just allow my wrists to do what they need to do naturally. So it's a really nice way to start building that rebound, building that kind of soft absorption of impact in a very controlled manner. A couple other ways we can play with this if you're not a jumper to start building that kind of plyo idea of it is to not actually leave the ground, but to work on maintaining tension and pressing through those feet. So it's kind of more dynamic calf raise. I don't actually touch the floor with my heel, but I'm getting that nice little rebound. I'm learning how to absorb and control my position, but just a little bit more dynamic. Okay, so play with that 10 seconds to 20 seconds. You can see where it takes you. Our next movement is our in-out hop. So we get a fun little coordination drill today. So we're going to start with our feet kind of in our squat stance or sumo stance, And we're gonna basically just work the bottom portion a little faster of our jumping jack. So our feet are gonna come in and out. Just gonna work on that nice little rhythmic hop. You can also go faster. You can work on that tempo, trying to push the pace, trying to go really quick with those feet. Or you can work on some steps. So you can work on some steps and some footwork. Try and go as fast as you can with the legs. If you start to mess up your footwork, just slow it down again. But you have 10 seconds of in-outs. That'll be plenty to get that heart rate up. I'm already going. I was like 3 seconds. But take your time, work your footwork. It's a cool little footwork drill. It's kind of fun to play with and just to get those ankles and again, those knees ready for a little bit of impact. Last but not least, we're gonna work on some steps. We're gonna work on some curtsy lunges. So I'm gonna get my feet set up in my squat stance, a little wider stance for balance. I'm going to step my foot on an angle, kind of a 45-degree angle, keeping this leg pointing straight ahead. So I step and I lower just like a normal lunge. I come back to my position, step, lower, back to my mid position. Like any other lunge, I don't need to worry about going all the way to the floor. I'm just gonna lower it to where I feel comfortable in terms of my range of motion. I'm trying to keep my back knee stacked under my hip under shoulder. And I'm also trying to stay as tall and upright as I can. So all those normal lunge mechanics and points of performance are there. The only difference is we're just on a 45-degree angle instead of straight on. So it's kind of a fun little twist, literally, to our lunges. So we have 6 to 10 reps there. You can take that down at your own pace. So don't worry about panicking or rushing. Just take your time, work your footwork. Quick little recap. We have a lateral ski jump for 20 seconds, ankle pops for 10 seconds, in-out hops for 10 seconds, curtsy lunge for 6 to 10, rest a little bit, do it again, anywhere from 2 to 3 rounds, and then you can practice any of the movements that are coming up in our work set next before we start the workout. So pause the video, take down that little jumping piece, come back to me, we're gonna go over those movements in the workout and get you going. All right, our next phase is the work set. So we have back lunges, we have dumbbell standing marches, jump squats, and then some skipping or some other options that I'll have on the bottom for you. So what we have starting off with our back lunge. So our back lunge, I'm gonna get set up, feet at about our squat stance. What I'm gonna do is step right back, staying upright as possible, standing tall, and then coming back through. So just working on that good lunge mechanic that we know and love, keeping our body upright, knees stacked under hip, under shoulder, and really focusing on keeping those ribs and hips nice and stacked and engaged, because that's gonna allow our knees and our legs to do what they need to do. Now, if you're not a lunger, that's fine. What we can play with as well is some step-ups. So you can work on that step-up, or you can kind of experiment with that step-up to high knee that we worked on yesterday in that strength set, or step up to high knee skip. If you have a box or step that you're comfortable with. If you're not comfortable with stepping, ignore that little skip position. We want to be really comfortable and have a lot of surface area to make sure that when we do leave the ground a little bit for that little skip, we are going to land on that plate or that box that we have set up to step or jump on. So please make sure if you're choosing one of those options, the apparatus you're stepping on is stable and strong. After our back lunge or back lunge option, we're going to move into our standing lunge, our standing march. Our standing march today, again, can be held at the Zercher position. It can be held in the goblet. It can be held front rack, suitcase, wherever you'd like to position that dumbbell so that it's going to allow us to move the best. And for the most part, we are just going to get that good march going, keeping the upper body as still and stable as we can, and keep those knees moving for 90 seconds. It can be a little challenge. So I want you to manage your fatigue level. I want you to manage your pacing so you can keep moving for the entire 90 seconds. Now, like we talked about during that front scale, I want you to keep in mind in that balancing leg, you want to make sure that it's stable and strong and we're not lifting the knee and it's buckling on us. We want to make sure we have a nice, strong, balancing leg the entire time for that work set. So please keep that in mind as we're going. we're moving at a nice steady pace and we're staying in one spot. So it's a really good opportunity to work on hips square, nice and strong through the glutes, good, strong, stable leg. So you can think about or focus on those things that we need to focus on ourselves in that particular movement. After the standing march, we're going to move into a jump squat or a variation of jump squat. So our 3 jump squats we have, right? We have our air squat, working on that nice flat foot contact, weight through that midfoot, nice and tall, nice and smooth. You can also turn that into a smooth squat down, stand tall, a little bit faster. Or we can work on the non-jumping jump squat, which gives us that explosive up-down, but I'm not actually leaving the ground. So it allows me to work on that deceleration as I pull into that next squat. Or we do that full drive into that jump squat, working on finding that good stance, deceleration, and working on all those key points pulled together that we know and love in our foundational air squat. We have 10 to 20 reps of that, and then we move into our skip. So we're skipping singles today, all right, for a nice steady state kind of flow with the singles. So see how that feels today. If you don't have room for skipping in your home, I do have a list of options at the bottom of the workout description. Check those out for a skipping option for you, and choose your adventure. It's gonna be a good time. So, quick recap on the workout. Every 5 minutes for 4 rounds, you will do 20 alternating back lunges, no load, into a dumbbell standing march for 90 seconds. And then you're gonna move into a jump squat for 10 to 20, and then you're gonna skip for the remaining time. Just nice and steady. If you catch your foot, take a breath, continue on. And you're gonna keep that moving for 4 rounds, just trying to find a pace that allows you just to flow steady into the next round and into the next. So I hope you have fun with this one, you guys. It's all about pacing. It's all about pulling back a little bit and not going out too fast. As always, work for quality. Have tons of fun, you guys. Let me know how this goes. Let me know what you chose for skipping if you chose something different. I'm always interested to hear in what you guys are playing with at home and making those substitutions for what you have access to. Tomorrow, we have some fun gymnastics work coming at you, so I hope you guys enjoy that. But until then, have a great day, and we'll see you soon. Bye, you guys.